Good morning. I am Marcia Walker, the branch manager for Family Savings Credit Union, Cartersville East location. I want to welcome everyone to the Cartersville-Bartow Chamber Luncheon. We are very proud to be your premier sponsor today. We have recently opened our new state-of-the-art branch located at 3 Ryan Boulevard, just in front of Tractor Supply. The branch is 5,700 square feet with plenty of office space and large open lobby. Our members have enjoyed the convenience of our 3 ATMs, 2 of which are in the foyer and can be accessed after hours using our Family Savings Visa ATM, debit cards, or your credit card. And we have expanded the drive-thru. Our staff is the same friendly people that you have come to know and love from our previous Cartersville East location. Lacey Huskins is our assistant branch manager. We have 6 tellers and 3 member service officers, all ready to help you with all of your banking needs. If you are in the market for a new financial institution, we would love to see you at Family Savings Credit Union. We are here to help you improve your financial well-being by providing services that include low-interest loans, free and low-cost checking, home mortgages, and higher dividend earning savings and investment accounts. Our electronic services include mobile banking with remote check deposit, free bill pay, and e-statements, as well as online banking, debit, and credit card controls where you can turn your card on and off to help deter fraudulent transactions. In the event of fraud, Family Savings Credit Union has a full-time analyst, as well as Visa fraud prevention services to help catch any suspicious activity on your account. For more information on all of our services, you can visit our website at FamilySavingsCU.com or simply give us a call at 770-382-9597. We would like to personally invite everyone to our ribbon cutting on Tuesday, May 18th at 11:30. We'll have refreshments, store prizes, and a lot of giveaways. I want to thank everyone for your attention and hope to see you at our ribbon cutting, or better yet, at our branch to join our family.
Hey, this is Benny McDonald. First, I want to thank the Family Savings Credit Union for sponsoring today's luncheon. We very much appreciate your support of the Chamber and our community. So good afternoon and welcome, and thank you for joining us on today, National Twilight Zone Day, otherwise known as our second and hopefully last virtual Cartersville-Bartow Chamber quarterly luncheon. Look so forward to getting back together in person with you all come this August. Special thank you to the Cartersville-Bartow County Convention and Visitors Bureau for sponsoring today's social lounge. Hope you had a chance to partake in that, got to meet some new friends and maybe make some business contacts. And I want to thank also John Berry and the Chamber Quarterly Luncheon Committee for putting together such a fabulous event today. It's different doing it online, but they do a great job and we appreciate them very much. And lastly, I want to thank the Georgia Aquarium because they gave us tickets to give away at the end of today's luncheon. So stick around for that and maybe you'll get to go visit the aquarium for free. Hey, we're in for a special treat today with our speaker, Jay Markwalter. Jay is the Executive Director of the Georgia Association of Conventions and Visitors Bureaus. As Executive Director, Jay represents all of Georgia's Convention and Visitors Bureaus. The Georgia Association of Conventions and Visitors Bureau, otherwise known as the Georgia CVB, serves as a unified voice, educational resource, and professional development resource for our state's tourism, marketing, and management professionals. Jay began his career in downtown development and tourism marketing in 1999, serving 6 years on the production committee of AthFest, the award-winning Athens, Georgia annual summer music and arts festival. Sure, you've been there. It's a great time. In 2004, Jay became the first executive director of the Lawrenceville Tourism and Trade Association, where he served for 7 years. And then from 2011 to 2014, Jay served as the tourism director for the Dahlonega Lumpkin County Chamber and Visitors Bureau, where he was responsible for managing all the tourism programs for that county. Jay, I've been here several times and love visiting up in Dahlonega. And then from September 2014 through March 2018, Jay served the Augusta Convention and Visitors Bureau as the Director of Marketing Communications and then Director of Sales. Finally, in April 2018, Jay stepped into his current position as Executive Director of the Georgia CVB. Jay is a proud graduate of the University of Georgia, Go Dogs, and he lives in Augusta with his wife Sumner and their two sons, Joe and Hart. So let's all welcome Jay to the stage with a hearty virtual applause.
Thank you very much, Benny and Cindy and team, and it's wonderful to be with you virtually. I want to echo your thoughts about the team putting on these online luncheons. This is a terrific experience, but I definitely would love to come back and be with you in person and see the Savoy Museum and some of the sites and friends there, including Tom Chenal and Ellen Archer and team. But I'm coming to you live from Augusta today, and want to thank you again for having me. And on behalf of the Georgia Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus, we are the unified voice for the 159 counties in Georgia. More counties than really any state in the Southeast, I think, next to Texas. And we are the unified voice of the destination marketing organizations and provide education, networking, leadership and professional development, advocacy for our industry and those destination partners across all communities in Georgia. We are a hub and a resource, and just want to mention Ellen Archer and her team. Ellen is one of our most seasoned and 31 plus years, I believe, with your bureau there and in the tourism industry, and a mentor to many and certainly to me. So I want to thank Ellen for all that she does for our industry in Georgia and also for you there in Cartersville. We are, our membership are 501c6 organizations across all structures. So we have many chambers of commerce, authorities, classic center authorities, convention center authorities, and commissions across Georgia, all shapes and sizes, budgets and teams. And again, our pillars for our members are education, leadership, and advocacy. And starting with education, we put on conferences so that your professionals can come and learn from each other, but also the latest trends and tactics in tourism. And our annual conference is in Savannah coming up actually next week. It rotates around the state, Valdosta last year. And we will be bringing panels and peer case studies in this conference, as well as updates of the legislative session, and plenty of time for our professionals to network and get to know the new CEOs across Georgia that are in destination marketing. Tourism, by the way, is that word tourist, the visitor economy, and always want to share that the leisure tourist is just one segment of the tourism industry. Our markets across tourism being visiting friends and relatives, military, medical, sports tourism. I certainly don't have to tell you about the impact and importance of sports tourism there in Cartersville with your facilities at Lake Point. And I've experienced that facility myself. In 2018, I had the opportunity to be a tourist in your town as part of the planning team for Leadership Georgia that came to Cartersville-Bartow for the full immersion 3-day experience. And Cindy Williams was actually in that class. And you have a wonderful team duo of having Cindy and Ellen being with the Chamber and Visitor Bureau there locally in economic development. But I did get to experience your attractions, all of your tourism assets, and the growth, and it was a very impressive experience. And truly, not only that class, but all of us putting on that event have been talking about Cartersville ever since. And that's what you want to do in tourism and as a community, collaboration in making that visitor and guest experience something they go home and talk about. Tourism is long-term, short-term. You never know when the visitor is making a windshield survey of your community. We say that tourism is that first visit, is the first date for economic development, as they are experiencing and seeing your community, and all economic development starts with that visit. So we thank you for your support of the tourism industry in Cartersville-Bartow, because that allows the team at the Visitor Bureau and your other partners to have successful marketing strategies to keep that promotional engine going and supporting your jobs. And I'll circle back around and touch on the impact of your jobs and some of the numbers there locally for your community. Again, it is about the customer experience. And as we saw in 2019, we were headed towards statewide a full year of increased tourism year over year. And of course, the pandemic hit everyone hard, but especially the travel industry, where we had to elevate our advocacy for the travel industry. We provide advocacy at all levels, the local level, the state level, and even at the federal level. There are certainly national policies that affect Georgia's tourism and all travel and tourism. At the local level, we have been working with the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia, and we realize the value of working with ACCG and GMA to train our local elected officials to work with us in reinvesting that visitor dollar. The lodging tax, also known as hotel motel tax, accommodations tax, your local bed tax, all the same thing, the local excise tax that the visitor pays, not local residents. And that is what's reinvested for that return on your community. The collaboration that you have already and do a great job in Cartersville that is completely necessary for the positive impact and success in community development has to happen between traditional economic development, arts and culture, downtown development directors and Main Street programs, working with your hospital, your airport authorities, any partner, real estate, that can make a positive impact for creating and developing more destination product and the destination experience. It is my understanding that y'all have also recently invested in supporting Public Art Commission. I am involved in some of that locally in Augusta, but get to see it, experience it across the state. And public art is that dimension that's hard to describe, but the gateways into your community and the experiences and the visual impact of beautification and the fun and creative as people are visiting your community, that the importance of the beautification side of that and the investment in that arts and culture must be at the table, because we know that companies, if they are looking at your community, after they have found land and the utilities and the other amenities that they need, they are asking about that quality of place, the quality of life for the families and the workers they will be bringing. And so if you invest in your local community for yourselves and local residents, it will certainly attract people to make that long-term investment and come and relocate and bring their jobs to your community. So it's about the tentacles, the many tentacles that we are such a multi-layered industry, tourism, that we are having to advocate at the state level as well, because our number one priority is to protect that lodging tax for any misuse and protecting it for its intended use. We are always looking to get more money from the General Assembly for Explore Georgia, Georgia's Department of Economic Development. And we are always watching and monitoring for any legislation with discrimination, discriminatory language, that we have to make sure that Georgia is a welcoming state. We are a $69 billion industry in Georgia. We support over 484,000 jobs across travel, tourism, and hospitality, and we are the 5th largest employer as an industry in Georgia. These are numbers from the U.S. Travel Association, the Department of Economic Development, and this is about the direct spending the supply chain indirect spending and induced spending back into your community from your local employees. So of course we did take a big hit with the pandemic, and we are coming back, seeing certainly signs of leisure travel depending on your product. And of course we know that there locally you have great attractions in recreation and group business conventions, and the missing link right now being business travel is what we really need and last to come back. Convention and then international travel. We work with the Southeast Tourism Society on supporting our National Park Service units. This is the federal level. So we go to Washington, D.C. At least once a year and work with our congressional delegation in Washington on supporting our National Park Service units, 11 units across Georgia, with many of our communities being gateways to those experiences and the impact from those sites, as well as eliminating recently in 2019 and 2020, we were part of the effort to eliminate red tape for our craft beverage and distilleries industry across Georgia. And I know many of you are familiar with the explosion and jobs created from our breweries and distilleries across Georgia, especially what they have done in our historic downtowns. And as well, we work with the Southeast Tourism Society in making sure that the voice of tourism is heard at that federal level, and that our delegation is joining the Travel and Tourism Caucus in Washington. Back at the local level of protecting that hotel motel tax, it was a very interesting legislative session, last two sessions to say the least. We do have a public policy team lobbyist at the Capitol, and we work very closely again at the state level in collaboration with the Georgia Hotel and Lodging Association, Georgia Restaurant Association, Kevin Shea and his team with the Georgia Economic Developers Association. And I want to thank Matthew Gamble, Representative Gamble, if he is on the line here with us today, a friend, and also Bruce Thompson, Senator Thompson, chairing this year the Economic Development and Tourism Committee from the Joint House and Senate Committee. And Bruce is going to be with us at our conference in Savannah next week, so we're excited to have him there. And we want to thank Bruce, and Representative Ron Stevens was the House Chair. All of our elected officials, we want to thank them for our House Bill 317, which addressed our short-term vacation rental. So part of protecting hotel motel tax for its intended use, the marketplace industry was moving faster than ordinances and the law could keep up. And we made some terrific success in this legislative session by addressing the definition of innkeeper in getting House Bill 317 passed and signed by the governor. And it basically has your short-term vacation rental owners who are doing very well, as especially during the pandemic and now coming out of the pandemic. The platform, VRBO, Airbnb, as of July 1, with the new legislation, they will collect the visitor tax, the lodging tax, just like our hotels, and remit that tax to our local communities. So we had the support of ACCG and GMA in that. And of course, the Hotel and Lodging Association was a major champion in helping get that across the finish line. For short-term vacation stays, the online platform will pay that tax, collect it, and remit that tax. It is not on the homeowner to pay that. And of course, by reinvesting into the community, that will help keep that marketing and promotion engine going even more with our local convention and visitors bureaus. I did want to mention that at the federal level, our nation's visitor bureau, Brand USA, which is basically a public-private partnership, their funding model has been threatened. In 2019, we were able to extend and reauthorize their funding for 7 years. However, with our borders being closed from the pandemic, their funding model was extremely crushed. And in 2019, we saw $233 billion in international visitor spending. coming to the United States to experience our attractions. And in 2020, we were down 81%. We were down 146 billion in the U.S. economy. And we really are encouraging our elected officials in Washington to help set a timeline and work with our champions up there, because we know that we need an approach, a science-driven approach, to welcome international visitors and the borders being safely reopened. We do know from research that 83% will not fly if quarantine is demanded on arrival. 88% are willing to fly, certainly willing to be tested, but 83% will not fly and join us from overseas if they have to quarantine. That funding model, by the way, is the electronic system for travel authorization. It's called ESTA. And we are looking at asking our congressional delegation for dedicated funding for America's Convention and Visitors Bureau, because we need that destination marketing. We need to be competitive. In most of our competitive set, I think the top 30 competing countries to come here to the U.S. Have dedicated funding right now. We are working very closely with Explore Georgia as well in Atlanta, and wanted to share that we were just on the heels of last week's National Travel and Tourism Week, where the theme this year being the power of travel, focused on recovery. Last year, when we couldn't travel, it was the spirit of travel and the resiliency in 2020. I'm very proud of all of our members. We have over 120 organizations, over 600 members, as well as corporate allies in travel and tourism in Georgia, and everyone got very creative with impacted budgets to not only help their immediate local business community, but keep the communication going. And now there is light at the end of the tunnel and everything is opening up. Coming out of the pandemic, Georgia is beginning to see certainly strong signs of recovery. According to the latest Longwoods International tracking study, a firm that we use in the industry, a study of American travelers, 88% of travelers now have travel plans in the next 6 months, which is the highest that we have seen in more than a year. In March, Georgia's travel expenditures totaled $2.1 billion, which is up 39% from the prior year. And this is the highest monthly expenditure total the state has seen since the pandemic began. To celebrate National Travel and Tourism Week, Explore Georgia released not only the new travel guide, the state travel guide, but they released a multi-million-dollar recovery campaign, a marketing campaign. Ready, Set, Georgia is the campaign, Ready, Set, Georgia. And informed by traveler sentiment, the campaign highlights a mix of city and coastal and small town destinations. I mentioned one of our legislative priorities being that we always try to get more money to market Georgia. Unfortunately, right now, we are last in the budget for state marketing against our Southeast partners. We are last, with Mississippi being just above us in marketing dollars. But we want to thank Governor Kemp as part of the fiscal year 2021 amended budget. And I want to thank the General Assembly and, of course, again, our members that are here with us today for the luncheon, for supporting and allocated $1 million extra to Explore Georgia, to our tourism division, to help our communities and bolster the recovery and the marketing. Half of those funds, $500,000, is being allocated to create a tourism recovery marketing grant program. And we're helping the state promote that right now to our local communities so that they can apply for those grants. And the other half will be available through a one-to-one match, which has some partners such as TripAdvisor, for a co-op program for additional marketing and advertising. I want to share a little bit about your community, Cartersville-Bartow, right now, after I've shared the state numbers with you from Explore Georgia. These are 2021 numbers based on studies just pre-pandemic. And thank you to, again, Ellen and the Cartersville-Bartow Visitor Bureau team. You have a $225 million tourism industry in Bartow County, and you employ 2,000 residents in travel, tourism, and hospitality. Tourism generates $17 million in state and local taxes. And this is what we always like to share with all of our community leaders and all of you involved in the chamber. You are leaders, just as we train and provide leadership development for all of our professionals. Tourism to Bartow County saves every single household $452 a year in state and local tax because of the visitor dollars that offset that coming into your community so that you can maintain the same level of service. And that's 37,600 households there in Bartow County. I mentioned the marketing mix, the market mix, the market segment. We know, for example, in Augusta, 51% of the visitor to Augusta is visiting friends and relatives. You have a 40% business travel mix, a 34% leisure and getaway traveler mix, 17% in youth sports. I would think maybe even a little higher in your sports. And we know that you have a 9% visiting friends and family and social there. But you have a very interesting and terrific mix of who that visitor is. The report shows the #1 activity, of course, is to eat, dining, places to dine, all of our culinary industry. And we thank the Georgia Restaurant Association for all they do, Karen Brimmer and team for our local restaurants. That's your #1 activity is reported by your visitors to dine. And then #2 activity is to visit your museums and attractions. I am very excited I got my new issue here to come see you and the new museum, and of course, see Tom and team. But that's the #2 is to visit your museums and attractions. 79% excellent ratings that we will return, with 72% saying they would very likely recommend Bartow County as a tourist destination. Extremely high numbers for creating that experience. So that is the most important thing, is to get them back through the door. We call those visitors temporary taxpayers. So it's great when they reinvest, and it's great for them to relocate, but they are temporary taxpayers. That is the purest form of economic development, to see those car tags from out of town, that new cash coming through the door, whether it's $5 or any amount of money. That new cash is the purest form of economic development, and certainly helps you with business recruitment and eyes on the community. I want to thank you for your support and transparency of working at the local government level with the team on reinvesting the hotel motel tax dollars. It is a very interesting law, hotel motel tax law. We work with the Department of Community Affairs to train our communities, to not only our professionals, but the elected officials, to handle all of those funds appropriately. And we offer that at every conference. We are having a session next week in Savannah on local governments working with our chambers and visitor bureaus, that relationship and spending those monies correctly. We know that your growth, and especially the opening of Lake Point and the rate of recovery, is tremendous there in Cartersville-Bartow, and just commend you for that as business leaders. And again, thank you for the collaboration, working together, supporting Ellen, Cindy, and all of the partners. So we speak tourism, but we are definitely speaking the bigger picture, that visitor economy. It is about community alignment at the end of the day, and the shared vision for your destination. And truly, we are all stewards of the destination. So destination stewardship, balancing economic development, balancing sustainable tourism, the quality of life, Regionalism. Visitors do not see city lines, county lines, sometimes state lines. Here in Augusta, we're right on the Savannah River looking at South Carolina. And we always promote the value of those partnerships as well in packaging. And Cartersville does an excellent job of working with the Northwest Georgia region. I've been in some of those meetings, and recently this year, a lot of those meetings virtually. And Ellen and team do an excellent job of working with the entire region. And just another fun example, in Lumpkin County, when I was in Dahlonega, we knew that we needed to work with the Georgia 400 corridor up and down, headed into Atlanta. So for example, we had the gold mine attractions in museums, but we created packages such as mansions, moonshine, and gold mines in the marketing side because of Roswell and their historic district, and Dawsonville and all they were doing with NASCAR and moonshine history, and then of course our gold experience up in the mountains of Dahlonega. So we always want our teams to realize that we all win, especially if the visitors stay headquartered with you and spend more time and branch out and experience the region and stay overnight with you. So I want to thank Cindy again for having me, and Catherine on the team there. Great team at the Chamber. Thank you again for inviting me to be virtually with you, and I'd love to come back and join you in person, and we can offer another update as we keep coming out of recovery. And not only the power of travel, but please remember the power of partnerships. It's been a pleasure to share all of this with you. Your team is going to be with us in Savannah. Cartersville-Bartow Convention and Visitors Bureau will be represented there at the table with many colleagues as we all celebrate and finally have an in-person conference. So the meetings and conventions are coming back. And thank you again, Cindy and Benny. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your meeting, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, Jay, we thank you so much for joining us. You did a fantastic job. Thank you for saying yes to our ask. I will say that you shared some very encouraging news on the tourism front, but I think we're all coming out of 2020. We're always looking for those good numbers and those encouraging messages. So thank you very much for being with us today. And one thing that I want to share with everyone too, because this was not included in Jay's bio, but I want to recognize him because in 2020, Georgia Trend named their 100 most influential Georgians, and Jay Markwalter made that list. So we applaud you, Jay, for that tremendous honor. And again, we appreciate you so much for spending some time with our folks here in Cartersville and Bartow County. So as we wrap up today's meeting, certainly want to say thank you to all of our attendees. I was excited to hear our chairman, Benny McDonald, say that we are looking forward to being together in person in August. Keep in mind, we make these decisions several months prior as to whether it would be virtual or in person. And so we stuck with the virtual, but I think that we're all ready to be in the room together and experience a quarterly luncheon to its fullest effect. Certainly want to say from myself and our staff a very special thank you to Family Savings Credit Union, again, as being our presenting sponsor for today's quarterly luncheon. And we're very much looking forward to celebrating with you all next week, the opening of your new facility. So invite the membership once again to come out for that. And to the Cartersville-Bartow County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Jay said it best, but Ellen is a great partner in this economic development endeavor. And so we are just most excited to have Ellen and her team, and even Melinda and her team. This whole Team Bartow approach is big and it's awesome. And we're so happy to be part of this fantastic community. One thing that I want to do here is that we mentioned at the very beginning that we had some giveaways. So we really do appreciate the Georgia Aquarium for donating several passes to the Georgia Aquarium. And so prior to, we just looked at the registration list and we randomly selected 2 winners. Each person will receive a pass for 2 to the Georgia Aquarium. And so Our two winners for the giveaways are Mike Ellington, who is with Metro Atlanta Ambulance Service, and also Greg Free, who is with the City of Harley. And so congratulations to you folks. Catherine will be in touch with you to get those passes to you, and you can have a fun Georgia experience as well. Just as we wrap up, two quick things I want to mention on the chamber side that you can look forward to. If you haven't already joined us for our Mastering Marketing mini-series, this is something that we're doing on Wednesdays in the month of May. These are recorded as well, but they're virtual 30 minutes. You pop on, you get some great tips in the marketing sector from our partners at Denim Marketing. And so there's still time to register for that, and we can send you the previous episode. We've only had one thus far, and number 2 will be tomorrow. We will be in person for our June 10th cookout. That's our annual event. Very much looking forward to seeing you all at Terminus Wake Park, right there on the campus of Lake Point Sports that Jay was talking about. So we'll be out at Terminus, and that'll be on June 10th. Save the date, and we'll be sending more information very soon. The last thing that I will say is, Jay said it as well, I'm deeply grateful to Catherine on the team. She is our programs and events coordinator, and she does a fantastic job pulling together events like these. There is just as much work that goes into a virtual event as there is an in-person event. So she has been working very, very hard on several things lately because they're all coming back together, and she's doing a fantastic job. We also have 2 new staff members since our last quarterly luncheon. Babs Knowles, who is our office administrator, and then very excited coming off of our strategic plan announcement in February, Matthew Thomas is our workforce development director, and both are in place. They should be both still in the platform, and so we're going to leave this platform open for a little while longer, and they're going to take a seat at the chamber table. So if you did not get a chance to meet them in the networking portion, but you would like to say hello and put a name with a face, please do hop on at the chamber table back in the social lounge when we end this, and you can say a quick hello and make introductions. And I'm appreciative of that too, because it's a great way to meet a lot of people quickly, and then they can get together with you in person very soon. Please mark your calendars as well, the next quarterly luncheon being August 17th. And we appreciate you all. We love you as members. We're deeply grateful for all of you, and go out and make it a great day. Thanks, everyone.